Coming out of Japan, we have updates on a new Lexus. This little hatchback is finally getting some more details that we've been waiting for a long time. Is this the revival of the cute, sporty Lexus CT hatchback? And we also have some more information on this guy, the upcoming Lexus TX. Before we get on to what Japan is saying, specifically Best Car is saying about this vehicle back here, we need to go back down memory lane. This vehicle was teased to us at the end of 2021 by then CEO Akio Toyoda. It made most sense to come as maybe a modified Prius, around 200 horsepower and kind of slapped with a Lexus luxury and build quality. And from the looks of it, it looks to be roughly the same size as the UX. So going back to Best Car here, by the power of Google Translate, Lexus compact SUV was a battery electric vehicle all along. So we go back here, it's so hard to tell because the front end is cut off by this amazing IS wagon sort of thing going on. So we really couldn't see if there was a grille involved or not. But even on the upcoming TX that wasn't even announced at that point, it has like a Prius-like grille to it, which is mostly blocked off. But Best Car has new renders of what they expect this to look like, so stay tuned. And then we don't know what this next generation ES is going to do either. Anyways, I could get trapped into that image for days because here we are about a year and a half later and we don't have all the information on those vehicles. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is break down the image. I am getting first generation Toyota Matrix vibes out of this. That's not a bad thing. That's just exactly what it looks like to me with some Lexus lights and badges on it. I'll see you guys down below if you think it looks like a first gen Toyota Matrix. And that's essentially what the new Corolla Cross is a modern interpretation of the Matrix, except more in crossover guise instead of a true hatchback guise. But this is definitely more of the hatchback a la like the Matrix. So we're gonna flip it on its side and start reading about what's going on here. They mentioned the LFSA concept back in 2015, but that was much smaller than what this vehicle is. But we haven't gotten entry-level global Lexus product other than the UX. They are confirming it is on the TNGA platform, or specifically the eTNGA platform is based off the K platform, like the BZ4X and the Lexus RZ. And they're shrinking that to its smallest possible size to make it a B segment car. It doesn't look like a B segment car. Honestly, from the images that we saw, it looks to be about the same size as a Lexus UX. And in fact, we have dimensions down here on what they're expecting it to be. So in comparison here, the Lexus UX is about 94 millimeters long. They're saying this is about 43 millimeters long. This small Lexus is 1750 millimeters wide. The UX is 1839 millimeters wide. And the height on the UX is 1539, where they're expecting the height on this to actually be a little bit taller than the UX. So it'll be narrower, slightly taller, and slightly less long, shorter than the Lexus UX. But it could just be the profile here, but honestly, this looks longer than the Lexus UX. The height looks to be identical, and we can't tell the width at all, but I wouldn't be surprised if the UX is just slightly wider. They're expecting it to come out next fall, so fall of 2024. So here's what I want from this vehicle. I want it to come to the United States. I want it to replace the UX. The UX is cramped. It's a good vehicle. Watch my review on the F-Sport, but it is very cramped on the inside. And I think the dimensions of this, if it's like the Matrix, is just more practical and more usable. They're expecting 400 kilometers to 450 kilometers of range. When I did the math, that comes out to be about 217 miles of range. That's roughly what the Lexus RZ gets, but a smaller package. They're saying the battery size will be about 50 to 60 kilowatt hours, and so it'll be far more efficient than what we have in the RZ. Obviously, it's going to be smaller. Honestly, I'd rather have this vehicle come to the United States as a full-on hybrid. With the 2-liter setup in the Prius or the Corolla Cross hybrid, we would have around 200 horsepower and we would be getting 40 plus miles per gallon with a Lexus badge. Essentially, it'd be a fancy, slightly roomier Toyota Prius, and miles per gallon would be not quite as good, right, because of the packaging, but it would still be very desirable to be like what the CT once was, which was a fancy, luxurious Prius. But honestly, that's already so close to what the Lexus UX is, but I'd rather have this sort of vehicle than the Lexus UX, more of a true compact wagon than a ultra compact crossover. And to this day, I still think the CT and F Sport trim looks better than the more modern Lexus UX. And I'd rather have this vehicle, like I said, than the Lexus UX, given that it is more practical and offer front wheel drive hybrid, all wheel drive hybrid, and then also a battery electric version. I don't see why Lexus couldn't do that. They essentially do that with the Lexus UX around the world. We don't get the UX 300E here stateside. All right, last thing we're going to talk about is the Lexus TX, and we're not going to mention the 70 Series Land Cruiser. Hopefully we get this sort of styling on the Land Cruiser that comes here stateside, and I'm hearing rumors that it could actually be announced this summer, the Land Cruiser for the United States, so stay tuned. Of course, guys, I'll bring you the latest, whatever it is coming from the Toyota camp. All right, so let's get into the Lexus TX and translate it. Let's flip it on its side and read what's going on. Now, keep in mind, this vehicle is being built in Indiana, Princeton, Indiana factory alongside the Grand Highlander. So think of it as a nice Lexus badge Toyota Grand Highlander, which I'll be driving in just a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. The powertrains will differ slightly. So let's read on how they will differ slightly. They're saying you're going to have a front engine, front wheel drive, and four wheel drive options with a straight four inline four turbo. 2.4 liter, which gives us about 275 horsepower and over 300 pound-feet of torque. And just like I say in the Lexus RX, this engine is the most undesirable setup in the new vehicle because the old V6 was smoother. You got the same miles per gallon roughly, but the hybrids are the better choice nowadays compared to the Turbo 4 non-hybrid. So let's read on what they say is coming. They say the 2.5 liter Toyota hybrid system will come. I don't know about that. And the reason is we don't have trademarks for the TX 350H. We have trademarks for the TX 350. We have trademarks for the TX 500H, as well as the 550H Plus plug-in hybrid. I think those are far more of a lock for our market. Now, is it possible a 2.5 liter Toyota hybrid system for the TX 350 be exported to other markets? Because Japan is saying they're getting this vehicle and it is only built in America. So maybe it is coming for their market as a 350H. I don't think they will market it here in America or offer it in America with a 350H, but I'd like to be proven otherwise. All right, we know we're getting the Hybrid Max. They mentioned that it's in the Crown Crossover RS. We call that the Crown Platinum here, or the Hybrid Max setup, which is the 2.4 liter hybrid. And I just actually drove this in the Lexus RX 500H. So think of a 0 to 60 in this large of a vehicle with the e-axle in the back, somewhere around 6 seconds, I would say, maybe 6.5 seconds, which isn't far off of the CX-90 that I have on my driveway from Mazda, which could be putting a dent into this Lexus TX's plans because that CX-90 is fantastic. And I know it will drive better than this vehicle because of the rear wheel drive bias, as well as the steering is just so precise and feels so natural in that. Anyways, watch my reviews for the CX-90. I'm actually reviewing it today for the more family and practical review. They're saying this grille here is going to be pretty spot on. They're expecting 4 horizontal bars here to be kind of a torchbearer for some future Lexus designs, but we know every Lexus grille is unique to that specific model. So we know that the spindle grille has been transformed into the spindle body or partial spindle body with the RX, the newest 5th generation RX. So I'm expecting that here as well, and it would be great to have fog lights like we have on the new RX as well. A light bar is pretty much par for course for modern Lexus vehicles, so this can't be too far off, and they're essentially just modifying the Grand Highlander images that we've had for a few months now. Expect 22-inch wheels. There will be F-Sport. There will be F-Sport Performance trims. And then the 550H Plus, I guess it would just be easier to pull up the spreadsheet. So this is the base powertrain, TX 350, 275 horse, 317 pound-feet of torque, front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Then maybe 350H for the Japanese market. Don't expect it here stateside. 450H Plus is not coming. 500H is with the 2.4 turbo, giving us 366 horsepower and over 400 pound-feet of torque combined. And then we'll also have in very, very low volumes. So like good luck getting this. And it's also going to cost an arm and a leg, I would expect, like $80,000 to $90,000 probably, maybe more. 550H Plus, I'm hearing that they're putting the 3.5 liter V6 in there. Yes, the V6. Wouldn't that be amazing? We would get the V6 carrying over instead of the 2.4 liter turbo in the 350. I don't expect that. I expect the V6 only to be offered in the plug-in hybrid. And that will give us around 400 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque, just from my estimations. Now, it will not be mated to the 6-speed setup like we see in the 500H. It will be mated to the Toyota hybrid system, like, let's say, the 450H Plus from the RX and NX or the RAV4 Prime, for example. Expect it to use the same 18.1 kilowatt hour battery that we see in the RAV4 Prime and the other Lexus plug-in hybrids, and hopefully get us around 30 plus miles of electric range. And this sort of setup, I would say, competes directly with what we see in the Volvo lineup with the XC90 T8 Recharge. But let's not forget about the Mazda CX-90 that is inching into the luxury space. Make sure to watch out my nighttime review. I'm doing a daytime review on it, but check this out. I plugged in the CX-90 specs here to give you an idea of their plug-in hybrid to potentially go toe-to-toe against the TX 550H Plus as well as the Volvo XC90 Recharge. The gasoline engine is much weaker on the CX90, but it has a very strong electric motor, so when you're running in fully electric mode, it will have decent power. But here's the thing. The 550H Plus in fully electric mode should outperform both the XC90 and the CX90. The reason is because we have two electric motors in the front, and that gives it a big advantage. So we're well over 200, I would say around 250 horsepower of electric power only, which is probably about 100 horsepower gain over what we see here. So that is the big advantage for the TX 550H Plus, is its EV only mode is going to be much more potent than the XC90s and the CX90's EV only mode. But the CX90 is going to cost a hell of a lot less than these $80,000 luxury setups that we see from Lexus and Volvo, because we know that the CX90 plug-in hybrid can be had loaded to the gills under $60,000, and it starts at $47,000. So unfortunately for the CX90 and the plug-in hybrid in America, it does not come in the premium plus trim that the inline 6 does, and so we don't have quite as nice of an interior, but it's still fantastic, and I really can't wait to drive the plug-in hybrid of the CX90 to see how good it is, because the inline 6 is phenomenal. When can we expect the Lexus TX? Well, I would expect a reveal this summer and then availability at the end of this year. Who knows with availability in plug-in hybrids for Lexus models. We still don't have the RX plug-in hybrid here in America, which is a travesty. Other markets like Europe get the vast majority of those plug-in hybrids from the Toyota and Lexus lineup, which hurts, because man, we could really use some more RAV4 Primes, Prius Primes, as well as NX and RX plug-in hybrids here in America. And unfortunately, that's also going to flood into the TX. Even though the plug-in hybrid of the TX will be built here in America, that battery pack has to probably be shipped over from Japan from Panasonic. So anyways, guys, don't want to get your hopes up for the plug-in hybrid on the TX. I just know it's going to be very low volume. And if you need a plug-in hybrid, it should be a lot easier to get from other brands. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope availability for the TX plug-in hybrid is much higher. But I just don't want to get my hopes up based off of Toyota and Lexus's track record with their plug-in hybrids. All right. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Are you excited for that small Prius or Toyota Matrix hatchback? Hopefully we get it here in America, but don't get your hopes up for that either. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe for more Toyota and Lexus updates. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day and peace.